Welcome to itdesk.tv. Welcome back to itdesk.tv. Now we've been out for a little bit, but we're back. And a user sent in a question asking about loops, programming, and things of that nature. I'm going to go through that today. I know that some of you are going to be having exams coming up for CXC, end of year exams, exams for college, things of that nature. This episode should help you a bit. If you have questions or you need assistance with certain things as it relates to IT, feel free to post them here and we'll assist. Now look at my screen. Pretty much what's going on, a user sent something in asking me to declare variables, put it in a while loop. They want me to collect numbers from the user, and each time the loop goes around they want me to show the average of the numbers that you've received from the user. And at the end of the day, keep doing that process of collecting numbers and displaying the average until the user enters -1. At that point, display a message to say end of numbers or so. So that's basically what I'm going to do here real quick. But this is actually pretty simple. So the first thing you have to understand is, just like you say, they ask to declare variables. I'm just going to come here. I'm going to declare the variables that I'm going to use. So for this one, I'm going to be using the floating point variables. And I'm going to assign a value to them. So I'm going to create one for total. Normally just do it like this. So I'm just going to be one for count. I'm going to use in the loop. I'm going to use one to calculate the average. I'm just declaring them and initializing all of them to 0. I'm going to need one for, let's see, collect the marks from the user, they call it marks. Alright. So there are my variables all defined that I'm going to use. The next thing they asked was they wanted to use a while loop. Now there are many loops, so I'm just going to go ahead and use the while loop that they set. And they wanted it to keep going as long as the user didn't type -1. It must keep looping until the user types -1. Then when that condition is met, the loop should end. So what we're going to do, let's create a while loop. While mark is equal, we're not going to say equal, while mark this not equal, the exclamation and the equal means not equal. So while mark is not equal to -1, I want this loop to continue. That sets the parameters of the loop, the conditions under which this loop will continue. I'm going to collect from the user now. I'm going to get, I'm going to say enter mark, enter number. Alright. And then I'm gonna collect the value that they enter. Okay. It's going to be a percentage F, because it's a floating point number I'm collecting, and ampersand mark. So what do I do here? So the number that the user enters, the screen right here asks the user to enter a number. Okay. The user enters the number, and whatever they enter, I'm going to put that number into the floating point variable, or the variable that I defined called mark. Remember, at this point mark is 0, but the first time it loops through, it's still 0, and unless you enter -1, the loop, it's going to ask for a number. So that was the initial thing. They wanted it to keep asking for the number as long as the value that's called mark is not -1. So it's going to do it forever until you put -1 in there, and then it's going to stop. Alright. The next thing we're going to do while inside the loop, okay, we're going to increase the value of total, which is here. Total is now 0. So the first time you gave the number total, which was 0 initially, becomes total plus whatever mark is. So total is going to keep increasing. Okay. I have another variable called count, which I want to know. In order to calculate the average, you need to know how much times the loop is going around. So as soon as I do the first loop, the count is equal. I'm going to do the same thing, count plus 1. I'm going to add 1 to it. So the first time it looped through, count is now 1. That will tell me how many times I've gone through in this loop. And since total is going to be a sum of each time I loop through, the only thing I need to do when I'm calculating the average is what? To divide total by count each time, and I'll have the average. I had a @ sign here, but it should have been an ampersand, which is an and sign, but let's see. So the first number is 15. Okay, so it just keeps running through. So I got to break something here. So let's check and see what's going on. All right, this is what I'm going to do. All right, so I'm going to deal with this. Is how I'm going to handle if after you enter the number, I'm going to put an if statement. If mark not equal to -1, that's what I want you to do. And I want to print this out. Print out. Else, I'm going to take the opportunity here to put the message in there. Let's try that. 15. The average is 15. It's the first time that I went through the loop. Let me add another number to 15, which would be like 20. So if I put 20 to this, it's going to be 20 plus 15, which will be 35. So the average will now be the 35 divided by 2, because I've now gone through twice. You get it? So I'm at 35. I put another 25 to that. It should put me at 60, putting the average about 20. Enter another number. And you just keep going until you put, so I'm now at 60. If I put, if I added 40 to it, it should now be 100 and divided by 4, because it's the 4th time through the loop. And then it should be 25. And that's how the program works. Everything is logical, all right? So when you're doing programming like this, you have to think things through, and it's actually pretty simple. So let's have a look at the code again and see what else we could do to make it even a little bit clearer. So I put the average out, but let's say I wanted to put something else as well, so you could see clearly without any doubt what's going on. So /n. So I'm going to put total is now, and I'm going to put %.2f, same thing. But this time I'm going to show you what the total is at this point, so you're absolutely clear. All right. Let's do it again. This is a beautiful thing, by the way, programming. You'll get it if your mind remains open. You should be fine. So let's put 15 in there. Total is now 15. So I'm tracking it so you can see what exactly is going on. All right. I put 25. Total is now 40. So it's the 15 plus the 25 that made it 40, and the average is what it says. I can add another 85 to this. Whatever I want, 158.25, whatever I need, and it just keeps going. All right, the last one is, since we're showing what total is, why not just show what the cost is as well, what the count is. Count is now, so you can see exactly the breakdown of what's going on. Let's do it. Enter a number, 15. Count is now 1. I don't like the way that displayed. Let's put a /n before it. /n. Ah, cool. Let's run it again. See what's going on. So let's go. 15. At this stage, the count is 1. The number is 15, the total. And the average is that. Let's add another number, 45. The total is now 60, so you're getting it. 60 divided by 2, average is 30. Enter another number, or 458.58, doesn't matter what the number is. Total is now 518.58 divided by 3, because each time it loops, the count is what the loop is, and it displays the average. So this is the breakdown of how you go about doing things. It's actually pretty simple. You're probably thinking, why did I put the if statement here? It's because I don't want to display the average if the user typed -1 as well. But as long as -1 was not entered, let me come over here. If the user puts -1, this is displayed, end of numbers, and you don't see any more average or anything like that. And that will take care of it. It's actually pretty simple. There's the code. You get better at programming based on practice, and you can use this online compiler. C language is not necessarily the language of choice. I'm just using this language to demonstrate this. But again, like I've always said in the sessions, programming is about concepts. Languages is just syntax. It doesn't matter what the language is. Get your mind into the concepts, and then the languages are a simple thing. You could do all of them. itdesk.tv, unlocking the world.